Hi students, my name is Sandra Hindu. I am going to be your instructor for the course Lean Six Sigma White Belts. In this course, we're going to be covering what is Six Sigma, Six Sigma history and application, and process improvement and quality methods. Let's go over the expectations for this course. With respect to the material, go slowly and fully enjoy the experience of being introduced to the world of Lean Six Sigma. Do take notes. While the end of belt exam is open book, I encourage you to take notes while sitting in the course. Thirdly, you must pass the exam. In order to earn your certificate, you have 2 attempts to pass a 20-question exam, answering a minimum of 80% questions correct. That is, you must answer 16 questions correct out of 20. Upon passing the end of belt exam, you will receive your digital certificates. It's very important that you provide me via email the exact way you want your name to appear on your digital certificate. Look it over very carefully before pressing the submit button. Let's look at training goals. By the end of the training program, the participant will be able to A. Understand the reasons that Six Sigma is required and the Six Sigma organization structure. B. Understand basic concepts of Six Sigma, metrics used, Six Sigma statistics and tools, and the elements of a successful Six Sigma implementation that makes its implementation in an organization successful. C. Clearly distinguish between the Six Sigma methodologies, DMAIC and DMADV. D. Clearly understand the types of benefits obtained through Six Sigma projects. E. Compare Six Sigma to other existing quality models. F. Understand its application through case studies. Do make it truly worthwhile by cooperating. If this is a live session, it usually begins at 9 a.m., ends at 5 p.m. with a 1-hour lunch break. And if it's a live session, there's usually coffee and beverages provided. If it's not a live session, do feel free to use your cell phone, pausing the video when necessary. I would say taking notes is very important, even though the end of belt exam is open notes and open PowerPoint slides. Stay focused, try not to get distracted by going on the internet or checking your email if you are sitting in a live class. But if you aren't, you're just watching this recording, feel free to take care of business by simply pausing this video and resume when you're ready, because we know life does happen. Questions are always welcome. Feel free to email me at any time. Notes are useful. Knowledge equals wealth. By the time you're done and you've earned your certification, Lean Six Sigma White Belt, you are truly going to be ready to help your organization tackle quality issues found in processes. Do focus and concentrate. Accuracy and precision both matter. The targets are for you. Let's look at the agenda. We are going to be covering the need for Six Sigma origin, Six Sigma quality level and organization architecture, Six Sigma products, Six Sigma working elements, overcoming barriers to Six Sigma benefit and categories. Moreover, we're going to be looking at the abbreviations of Six Sigma methodology, the make overview, project selection process, define phase deliverables, define phase tools, define phase do's and don'ts. The nice thing is that not only are you getting the recording for this class, but you'll also be getting all of the PowerPoint slides. So you're going to be in good shape to pass the end of belt exam. And in the future, whether 6 months from now or a year or 2 years, you get to keep those PowerPoint slides forever. And so even if you're going through all these recordings, no worries at all. And you want to, look back at, let's say, page 50 or page 60 or what have you, you have the entire PowerPoint slide forever. Let's get started by looking at the Six Sigma need. As a Lean Six Sigma white belt practitioner, your goal is to reduce the gap in quality. Your customer has expectations. Your goal as a supplier is to achieve those customer expectations. The extent in which you cannot achieve your customer's expectations, that is the quality gap. The reason you're sitting in this course, Lean Six Sigma White Belt, is that you play a crucial role in helping your team reduce the quality gap as close to zero as possible. The larger the gap, the worse the process. So the quality gap caused by failing to keep up with customer expectations. Why are you sitting in this class? Is to reduce the quality gap, ideally by 0. What causes gaps in qualities? Well, too much variation in the process. Your team members, they deviate from standard operating procedures. Not enough training, too much mistakes, too much errors. You can take any process. It can be a large process. Maybe you're looking at a process at a macro level. Maybe you're looking at a process at a micro level. The extent that you have team members engaging in the process in different ways, with different process cycle times, and there's so much deviation from the ideal standing operating procedures, there are more issues and errors and mistakes that are going to come up for the process, and that is no good. As a Lean Six Sigma white belt, you want to get rid of as much of the variation as possible. So what that means is that every employee engages in the process in the same way, with the same amount of quality, within the same amount of time. So the extent that you can train your employees to do the same exact steps in the same exact order within the same amount of time, you are seriously going to be able to reduce that gap of quality. That's what's going to make you a Lean Six Sigma white belt practitioner. And ideally, as you go through this course and you become a white belt practitioner, that's the most basic foundational level in the world of Lean Six Sigma. After, you're going to earn your yellow belt, gain a little bit more expertise. And then the green belt, where you get introduced to the world of statistics. And then the black belt, where you get submersed with statistics. And then ultimately the master black belt, where not only are you training people in the material, but you're also going to be managing other black belt projects throughout the year. So at the white belt level, it truly is foundational, and you're simply only going to assist with Lean Six Sigma projects. And so ideally, once you earn that certificate and you've gained a foundational understanding of the subject, an elementary understanding, that's what the white belt course is all about, then you'll have enough confidence after you pass the 20-question exam to seriously consider, hey, am I now ready to tackle the yellow belt? And once you tackle the yellow belt, then you can go on to the green, and then the black, and ultimately earn the highest level of certification in the field of Lean Six Sigma, which is the Master Black Belt. So I love to tell students, and my students tell me, Sandra, is it really this simple? We're trying to reduce the quality gap. That's what being a practitioner is all about. And I say, yes. And let me tell you, it's easier said than done. Easier said than done. It is helpful to think of quality as an umbrella concept which integrates a whole spectrum of improvement initiatives such as service enhancement, cost reduction, value analysis, and others, which often can be suboptimal on their own. Used in this fuller sense, quality is strategic and holistic. Quality today is accelerated business improvement. So there was old thinking of quality, and now there's new thinking of quality. So let's take a moment to compare both the old and new thinking as it surrounds with respect to Lean Six Sigma. The old thinking was quality is about products. The new thinking is quality is about organizations and how efficient and effective they are in meeting customer expectations. The old thinking was quality is technical. New thinking is quality is strategic. Old, quality is for inspectors. New, quality is for everyone. Did you know that everybody plays a role in quality improvement? Yes. Internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, the managers, so superiors, subordinates, customers, everyone. Fourthly, quality is led by experts. The new thinking is quality is led by management. They need to set the example and say, we care about quality. We care that every employee is following standard operating procedures, following the ideal way, following the exact steps in the exact order within the same time frame so we can get consistent results, and ideally results that meet our customers' expectations. Number 5, good quality is high grade. The new thinking is quality is of appropriate grade. And who decides what is appropriate grade? It is your Customers. Your customers are going to be providing you with their target values, and they're going to be providing you with something known as customers' lower specification limits and the customer's upper specification limits. And as the Quality Lean Six Sigma practitioner, your job, your target is to stay within your customer's lower specification limits and the upper specification limits. Who makes the appropriate grade then? Your customer decides. So let's just use a classic example that I've been liking to use for years and years as a trainer in Lean Six Sigma, and that something that everybody can comprehend is that most of us, we like to go to coffee shops, right? And we order a grande hot latte. Sometimes our drink is made in 2 minutes. Other times it's 9 minutes. So they conducted research and they decided the ideal amount to make the best high quality standard latte is, let's say, 2.5 minutes. That's the ideal amount. So maybe your customer's lower specification limits is 1 minute and 50 seconds, and the upper limit is 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, if you're making that latte and you're the barista and it takes you, let's say, 50 seconds to make the latte, ooh, maybe something's going to go on. Maybe you rushed. Maybe you didn't measure. Maybe you forgot a step. You didn't follow all the steps. It would have been impossible to make that drink in 50 seconds. But if you take longer than 3.5 minutes, well, you were not efficient. Maybe you got distracted. Maybe the milk was not where it was supposed to be, or the milk ran out and you had to go to a different section of the store to grab a new gallon of milk. Or you spilled something, or you got distracted by talking to other customers. So the coffee shop and the customers have an expectation how long it will take to make that grande latte. And so ideally, the baristas want to stay at that ideal level, following the ideal standard operating procedures. And as long as they're within that customer's lower specification limits, I don't forget what I said, 1 minute and 45 seconds to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, that is the appropriate grade. So you don't have to be perfect. As long as you're within those specifications, the better you are. And the tighter the values are to that central mean, to the ideal amount of time it would take to make that latte, the better off the process. And it's not just about making that grande latte within that ideal time frame, but it's making sure every employee follows the exact measurements, the exact procedures to produce the same tasting drink over and over again for the customers. I hope you guys like that example. Many of my students like that example because it's very general and everyone can understand it regardless of what field you're in or any field that you're interested in if you're just starting out your career. Lastly, quality is about control. That was the old thinking, okay? Now, quality is about improvement. And the extent that you can train your employees to do the same steps in the same exact orders within the same time frame to produce consistent quality standards, you really truly have a winning recipe. And as a Lean Six Sigma practitioner, chances are you'll have a job for life. More examples to come. Quality can make the vital difference by looking at the business from a new perspective and using the insight as the stimulus for radical improvement. At the focal point of this new perspective is people. Business is about people working with other people, customers, managers, staff, suppliers. A quality process makes us look again at the way all these people work together with the challenge that it can and must be done better than before. Do we know our customers? Do we understand their needs? Do we know the processes which pull together our work for customers? Do we know how to create more value and less waste in those processes? Can they be made faster, more robust, more flexible? Are we giving our people the power to do their best? Are we giving them guidance, support, and inspiration to want to do better work? A quality process concentrated on these issues, focusing on people. These questions are applicable equally to marketing and to operations, to manufacturing, and to service. So let's look at business from a new perspective. A good quality process changes the way things are done by driving the business from customers' needs, setting a clear vision, using the contribution of every person to the fullest, managing well beyond company boundaries, managing processes to their optimal capability, partnering with suppliers, both internal and external, developing workers to manage and managers to lead, breaking down hierarchy and functional divisions, becoming faster, leaner, and more responsive to market opportunities, and integrating all of the above for competitive advantage. I want to stop here to reiterate one of these points. If you're not gathering data from your customers, both direct data and indirect data, and you're just doing what you think the customer wants, that's a recipe for failure. What are you doing? Are you surveying your customers to know what they want? Are you engaged in focus groups? Are you recording what's going on in the claims department, in the customer service department when all the complaints come in? What are you doing to truly understand what your customer expects from you? Quality is not magic. It cannot pull new customers out of a hat, make regretted decisions vanish, trick customers into thinking that our service is better than it really is, spirit away persistent competitors, provide a crystal ball to predict the future, solve our problems overnight, transform difficult people into angels, manage the business for us. Let's look at the need for Six Sigma. Six Sigma is all about meeting customer specifications. So you must stay within your customers' lower and upper spec limits, reducing the variability found within the process, producing a process high in reliability, producing a process high in repeatability. So let's look at these before moving forward. It doesn't matter if we're looking at that grande latte that's being made or the diameters of a car piece or a window piece that's going into a car. The customer's lower and upper spec limits must be met, whether it's for a specific part of a product, whether you're looking at the process cycle time, you're looking at a quality aspect, you must gather what is the customer's lower and upper specification limits. And the whole goal of Lean Six Sigma is to reduce the variability found within the process. We want to get variability as close to zero as possible. What does that look like in practice? Every employee engages in the same steps within the same order, within the same time frame. Producing a process high in reliability, and you need to produce a process high in repeatability. Reliability basically means the same employee makes that grande latte around 2.5 minutes over and over and over again during the 8-hour shift as a barista, okay? Repeatability means different baristas all make that grande latte within their 8-hour shift, doing those same steps within that same time period. So not only are you consistent in the quality and time that you take as a barista to make that drink, each of the baristas must be doing it within the same time frame, repeating the same exact steps and producing the quality of taste that we expect of a grande latte. So reliability is what? The same producing, the same person, the same employee, the same barista being consistent in the time and the steps they engage in. Repeatability is that different people, different employees, different baristas are consistent. Six Sigma is a breakthrough improvement methodology. Six Sigma DMAIC is a methodology for process improvement. You must define the problem. So what is the quality problem? What is the issue? You must measure the quality problem. That involves you taking baseline data of where you currently are with terms of the process cycle time, where you are in terms of the number of mistakes in the process, the number of errors occurring in the process, and just the number of issues in general found in the process. So you must take baseline data. Where are you at this moment with respect to process quality? If you don't know where you are in this moment, in terms of the number of errors, the number of mistakes, where are the mistakes, what are the mistakes? If you don't have the baseline data, then how are you even going to know what your improvement plan is going to consist of? And even if you were to make some improvements, how are you going to know whether those improvements were effective? If they've reduced the number of errors, if you reduce the number of mistakes, if you didn't even know where you began with because you did not measure baseline data. 3, you want to engage in analyses, both descriptive analyses as well as quantitative analyses. So you can truly inspect the quality problem at hand. And then number 4, you engage in the improvement plan. You're going to know what the ideal process steps are. You're going to get your employees all trained to follow those process steps. Again, it's easier said than done. You got everyone to agree that these are going to be the ideal process steps. Everyone's going to be on board. Management approves of the improvement plan, and then you implement it. And then once you implement the improvement plan, you're going to then post improvement plan after a few weeks, you're going to collect new data. So you're going to see what the quality specs look like now. How much errors are there now after you engage in the improvement plan? How many mistakes are there now? And the cool thing, post-improvement plan data, you get to compare it with the baseline data. And ideally, what you're going to want to say as a Lean Six Sigma white belt was there was a statistical significant reduction in the number of problems, in the number of errors and mistakes in the process because you implemented the improvement plan. And by you reducing the number of errors and the number of mistakes found in the process, ideally, not only did you improve quality, but you reduced cost. So efficiency refers to cost, effectiveness refers to quality. You want to have both the reduction of cost and an increase in quality. And then once you have a more high quality process that meets your customers' lower and upper specification limits, lastly, you want to control. Another word for control is sustain. You want to sustain those positive changes made. Because, let's face it, you might have trained all your employees and then sooner or later, people go back to the old way of doing things because you didn't control a process, you didn't sustain it. So in the control phase, when we get there, you want to have accountability charts. You want to conduct audits. You want to have continuous training. You want to have appraisals to ensure that each and every employee is following the improvement plan and those new ideal standard operating procedures or those tweaked standard operating procedures to the T. And that's how you're going to control and or sustain those positive changes made. Now you also have Six Sigma DMADV, which stands for defining, measuring, analyzing, designing, and verifying. DMADV is when you are actually designing a new product, when you're actually designing a new service. So while the first three are the same, defining, measure, analyzing, the fourth one is designing. You're actually designing a new service or designing a new product. And then you verify to make sure it actually works according to plan. So DMAIC is you already have the product, you already have the service. And DMADV is when you're actually designing and wanting to make sure that you are designing an ideal product or an ideal service. So process improvement is relatively new and exciting business discipline. Discrete improvement can be used to describe the blend of East and West experience, which is resulting in major improvement successes. The idea is this: Kaizen is too slow and Big Bang is too risky and disruptive. Why not go for the next features of the TOA extremes while avoiding problems? The middle ground offers radical gains made in a controlled methodological way, which can be implemented relatively quickly. This is in effect discontinuous improvement using breakthrough concepts with systematic techniques. Discrete improvement is planned to exploit area between Kaizen and Big Bang when you're doing everything at once, right? That's pretty scary too. It will not provide solution for every process, problem, or opportunity, but it offers an alternative which may well be the sound route in many competitive situations. But we need a well-established quality environment and people familiar with improvement processes and will relate to the stretch goals which have been set. So let's look at discrete and breakthrough improvements. The order of change and the potential gain. Is it going to be modest, radical, or dramatic, right? Do you really want to be explosive and so much change all at once? Or do you want to do Kaizens? Slow and methodological. And how fast do you want to see the potential gain? So when it comes to continuous improvement, let's look at this chart. Continuous improvement, discrete improvement, Big Bang improvement. Both of them are big breakthroughs. How fast and methodological do you want to go as a Lean Six Sigma white belt practitioner? Sometimes you might be willing to be risky and disruptive with a Big Bang improvement. Sometimes you want to avoid that. You want to go slowly. Your team is going to decide. Six Sigma is not simply a quality initiative. Six Sigma is a business initiative. A Six Sigma program can be built into an existing IOS, International Organization for Standardization, and TQM, Total Quality Management Systems. Individually, these management systems are important quality fundamentals and building blocks. Integrated with Six Sigma, other management systems become part of the total Six Sigma program. Let's look at Six Sigma and IOS 9000, 2000. The new focus of IOS 9000, 2000 focuses on continuous improvement and customer satisfaction. Focus first on the customer that makes the product and not on the product first. Let's look at the PDCA cycle. Continuous improvement is through the PDCA cycle. Clause 8.21 states, new focus is customer satisfaction, also known as fulfillment of customer requirements. Clause 5.2, customer focus is one of the key focuses areas in Six Sigma. Non-compliance of ISP clause can trigger Six Sigma projects in problem areas. Customer focus allows us to translate needs into product or service requirements. Customer feedback to the design team ensures robust design and experience, less rework, more reliability in doing the design right the first time, reducing time to market for new products. Clause 8.24, monitoring and measuring, and 8.4, analysis of data states, metrics and analysis provides baseline and help quantify improvements and bring visibility to the management. Let's look at the PDCA cycle and what each of these stands for. First, you want to plan a change or a test aimed at improvements. So what does P stand for? Plan, resource management. And then we come to do. Do is to carry out the change or the test. And as you see from the diagram, this is the product and service realization. Thirdly, you have check/study. This involves metrics, analysis, and proof. Specifically, check/study the results. Verify, validate. What did we learn? What went wrong? Lastly, there's act, management responsibility. Act is adopt the change, abandon it, or run through the cycle again. It's all about customer satisfaction. You need to know the customer's upper and lower specification limits and then engage in plan, do, check/study, and act to ensure that the customer is satisfied. Without a satisfied customer, your entity will not last for that long. Focus first on the process that makes the product and not the product first. And that's why I love the PDCA cycle, because you're continuously checking in with the customer and not just creating the entire product or service and just hoping the customer is going to be satisfied with it. And let's say they're only 80% satisfied. You're willing to go back to it and say, okay, there's issues. A lot of claims are being made. You know, customer service complaints are off the charts. We're getting so many calls in this area, that area. So we're going to go change this area and that area. We're going to keep making improvements based on what our customers are telling us through those customer service calls, through the claims that are being made, through focus groups, through the surveys. And it's okay that you're not perfect. What entity is perfect? But when we keep paying attention and when we have those Lean Six Sigma quality professionals at the company, we pay attention, we ask, we understand, so we can improve customer satisfaction and then sustain it. That's why you're sitting in this course today. Let's continue looking at this. We must analyze customer needs, market analysis. We must look at the architecture design trade-offs, improvement projects to sustain customer satisfaction. And we must look at customer feedback to design inputs. Six Sigma establishes the link between marketing, engineering, and application teams. And as you can see through this diagram, PDCA plays a huge part. And it's not like you do PDCA one time and you're done. No, then you just keep doing it again. Then you plan a little bit more, and then you do, and then you check, and then you act, and you keep. It's a continuous cycle. It's not like you do it once, you have an improvement, and then you're set for life. No, can you imagine any entity just saying, hey, we're going to do the PDCA cycle one time? PDCA cycle, I meant, one time, and then we're done? No. We are continuously engaged with our customer. And how painful, even if it's really painful to admit it, saying, hey, at the end of the day, we're nothing with our customers. And if they're saying it's an issue, then it is an issue. And we need to pay attention. And that makes all of the difference whether an entity survives or whether an entity goes out of business. Harsh reality, right? Especially when you're in a very competitive environment. You have to continuously improve. And that's your role as a Lean Six Sigma practitioner. Let's take a moment to look at the Six Sigma breakthrough strategy. And then we're going to take a little bit of a break. The initiative is business focused, not quality focused. The leadership is committed, competent, and involved. If your leadership does not support a Lean Six Sigma program or initiative or improvement plans, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. The methodology and tools are data-driven and statistically validated. The best people in the organization are 100% dedicated to defect reduction. Who's going to play a part in the defect reduction? Hint, everybody. Management, superiors, subordinates, customers, we all play a part. And the great thing that if you are a director of quality or you're an HR director or you're the CEO of a company, at the most foundational level, you want everybody at the company to get this elementary foundational experience sitting through a Lean Six Sigma white belt. Because if every employee can just get a foundational elementary understanding of what Lean Six Sigma is all about, which is quality gap reduction, also known as reducing the variation found in the process, the more that every employee is going to buy into Lean Six Sigma. And Lean Six Sigma's main goal, which is defect reduction. So even if the majority of employees are not going to go on to earning their yellow and then green and then black and master black belt, just sitting through this foundational elementary course, which is the white belt, makes a world of difference in employee buy-in of the Lean Six Sigma program. Because ultimately, it is going to be the employees who must be motivated and inspired to those tweaked standard operating procedures or the tweaking or the changing of process steps. And we know employees might be resistant to that. Well, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years, and this Lean Six Sigma person is going to come in and change things on me? Oh, no. But if they sit through a white belt training and they see that leadership is committed, competent, and involved, the more willing they're going to say, hey, I get it. I went through the training at a foundational elementary level, and leadership is committed, and they're going to be providing us with comprehensive training so we don't feel intimidated. We don't feel overwhelmed with the process changes. Yes, it's going to take time. I was always used to doing things in a certain way. Now they're telling me I'm tweaking or changing the steps, but I'm open to it. My friends, the more that everyone in your organization understands Lean Six Sigma, the more that you can successfully implement the Lean Six Sigma program. The focus is on specific projects. So when you are engaged in a Lean Six Sigma project, you can look at a quality issue at a macro level or a micro level. That decision is up to you and your team. And you start off by letting the employees be really, really honest and be able to speak freely about what is not working in the process. What are the issues? What are the problems? And if you can get your team to speak freely, then you are on your way to starting and finishing a successful Lean Six Sigma project. And when you get to the black belt, you're going to be completing one specific Lean Six Sigma project. And then when you get to the master black belt, you'll be completing 3 projects. And the great thing about sitting in these trainings where you can go through all of the 5 belts. So we're talking about the white belt, yellow, green, black, and master black belt. The great thing about that is at the very end of the training, you're going to be shown in detail how to complete a Lean Six Sigma project from beginning to end. And then you're going to have that once a week for 1 hour live Zoom sessions where you connect with me, your instructor, Sandra Hindu, other black belts and other master black belts that are all working towards project completion. Your project can be any quality issue at the macro level or at the micro level. You get to choose. Your team gets to choose. And you always start out by asking your team members to speak freely about quality issues that they're noticing in a very non-judgmental environment. Remember, we're not blaming employees. We are focused on the process. And what is a process? A process is simply a series of steps that leads to a specific goal. And if you can clean up the process steps, and you can get everybody to agree what the ideal process steps are, and to train people on those steps, and those new steps or those tweaking of those steps, getting everybody to do it the same exact way in the same exact order within the same time frame. And if that reduces that gap of quality, then you can have a Lean Six Sigma project that meets customers' specifications. A common language is provided to global companies or teams when they follow the Lean Six Sigma methodology. And that specific methodology, as we learned about it, is DMAIC, where you're defining the quality problem, measuring it, analyzing, improving, and controlling. Let's take a moment to look at the cost of poor quality. So as a Lean Six Sigma practitioner, you need to be able to quantitatively define what is the cost of poor quality. In other words, what is the cost of you doing nothing? What is the cost of just sitting there doing things exactly the way you've been doing it for 10 to 15 years? What's the quantitative cost? What is the cost of not removing the variation in the process? What is the cost of not doing an improvement plan? What is the cost of keeping those errors in place and those mistakes in place and those long process cycle times in place? If you were to maintain the status quo, what is the cost? I want to see numbers. And what you're going to do as a practitioner, and what we're really going to dig deep into, is how to come up with that COP cost. And what you're going to learn through that is that you need to talk to HR. What's the cost of those overtime hours for going back to the product and fixing all the defects and defectives found in that product or that service? So what's the overtime cost? What's the cost of all the scrap? What's the cost of the customer service department taking all those calls? What's the cost of all those claims? And if you're reworking services and you're reworking products, and then you have to get new products in, or you need to rework those products, or the products were reaching the end of the assembly line, and then they have to go back to the assembly and figure out and identify where the inefficiencies are coming from. That all costs money. So as a Lean Six Sigma practitioner, it's your responsibility to work with different stakeholders, both within and outside, in coming up with concrete numbers of what it's costing you to not engage in a Lean Six Sigma project and to clean up the errors and mistakes. That is very powerful in your Lean Six Sigma project, to identify quantitatively and to be able to state with confidence, if we do not reduce the quality gap, we are spending, let's say, $500,000 more than we have to in process A, process B. But if we clean up the process, we can reduce the COPQ by $500,000. And you're going to be talking to various people to get those estimates with respect to COPQ, also known as the cost of poor quality. So let's look at this diagram a little bit. The blue stands for the basic work. The gray is the prevention of those errors, the mistakes. And then we have appraisal in yellow. In light blue, we have internal failures. And in red, we have external failures. This is huge. And when we get to actual project requirements, we're going to talk more about how to calculate COPQ. And that's the exciting part. Like right now, you guys are getting like an elementary foundational view. And as you keep going to higher levels of the belts, the more knowledge you're going to gain. Did you know that 3 or 4 Sigma level companies typically spend between 25 and 40% of their revenues fixing problems? Well, wouldn't it be better if we just prevented those problems in the first place? That is possible when you have strong Lean Six Sigma initiatives and programs at your entity. The cost of poor quality, parentheses, percentage revenues. So if you're only operating at a 3 Sigma level, look, you're at 25% fixing problems. If you're at 4 Sigma level, you're closer to like 15%. 5 Sigma, that's between 10, let's say 13%. 6 Sigma, that's the class you're in today. If you're operating at a 6 Sigma level, whoa, let me follow the line. Whoa, only 5% of your revenue is used fixing problems. And if you're at a 7 Sigma level, a little bit less. Let me say it's about 4% of your revenue is spent fixing problems. Operating at a 6 Sigma level is the way to go. And for those of you guys who are wondering, there's no class in 7 Sigma level. Not yet, that is. But we still included it because it just goes to show you. Companies operating at 6 Sigma level typically spend less than 5% of their revenues fixing problems. So my friends, isn't it worth it to take the time to learn about Lean Six Sigma and not spend such a large part of your revenue fixing problems? Yes. And it's all about preventing the mistakes in the first place. It would be a mistake to think that Six Sigma is about quality in the traditional sense. Quality, defined traditionally as conformance to internal requirements, has little to do with Six Sigma. Six Sigma is about helping the organization make more money. To link this objective of Six Sigma with quality requires a new definition of quality. For Six Sigma purposes, I define quality as the value added by a productive endeavor. Quality comes in two flavors: potential quality and actual quality. Potential quality is the known maximum possible value added per unit of input. Actual quality is the current value added per unit of input. The difference between potential and actual quality is waste. Six Sigma focuses on improving quality, that is, reducing waste, by helping organizations produce products and services better, faster, and cheaper. In more traditional terms, Six Sigma focuses on defective prevention, cycle time reduction, and cost savings. Unlike mindless cost-cutting programs which reduce value and quality, Six Sigma identifies and eliminates costs which provide no value to customers, waste cost. COPQ is the dollar cost of this gap can be huge. General Electric estimates that the gap between 3 or 4 Sigma and Six Sigma was costing them between $8 billion and $12 billion per year. In conclusion, let's look at this diagram one more time. So we have quality on top. We have potential quality, which is the maximum possible value added per unit or input. And this is the actual quality, which is your baseline, where your current value added per unit of input. So potential, where you can be if you engage in a quality improvement project, and where you are in this moment, the actual quality, also known as the baseline. And that the potential quality minus the actual quality equals waste. And what's your goal as a Lean Six Sigma white belt practitioner? Is to reduce the waste. Ideally to what? 0. Six Sigma identifies and eliminates costs which provide no value to customers, also known as waste cost. We are now reaching about 1 hour and 2 minutes. This is going to be a perfect place to take a breather and to maybe take a break, whether 10 minutes or 15 minutes, or if you feel that's enough material for today and this is not a live class, then feel free to simply stop here and review your notes, go to get a snack, and when you're ready, we can continue on the subject of business and Six Sigma, approach to needs. I hope you enjoyed the first 1 hour or so of lecture, and I look forward to seeing you to the second hour of lecture, where we will continue on with slide 21. Remember, the white belt course comes with the entire PowerPoint slide decks. So whether it's 6 months from now or 1 year or 10 years from now, that slide deck will always be available to you, and you can review it at any time. So I hope you enjoyed the last little over 1 hour or so that we've had with each other thus far, and take a break. And I cannot wait to continue on slide 21 soon. Thank you, students, very much.